Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I did something a little bit different. I wanted to do a full face, completely drugstore products makeup tutorial. I tried to do cruelty free, but I realized the foundation that I used wasn't actually cruelty free. Sorry about that. I really wanted to make it like that. In the future, if you guys really want to see a cruelty free product, or if you want to see a cruelty-free drugstore products video, just let me know and I can do that. I cut my own bangs the other day. Sorry, Abby. You probably hate me. They don't look that great. They're fine because they're styled, but whatever. I like them. All the products I use today will be in the description, or I will mention them in my voiceover. If you guys want to see which products I liked and which products I did not like, just keep watching. So I've already moisturized my face with my e.l.f. Daily Hydration Moisturizer, and I used the NYX Angel Veil Primer. I just bought this, and I really like this a lot. It has like a really velvety finish to it. Not silicone-y at all, it's more like a lotion. Next I'm using the Almay Clear Complexion foundation and using my white Pro Mixer by NYX. This foundation's way too dark on its own, so I needed to pick up some mixer. This will help any drugstore foundations that you like that are way too dark for you. You can make them as light as you want with the mixer. I'm using this spatula just because I mixed with it and I just kind of wanted to get the excess off. Didn't want to waste it. I'm using the Real Techniques Complexion sponge. Everyone likes this sponge. I don't think it really works that well with this particular foundation. It's not squishy enough in my opinion. It needs to be more squishy. I'm so used to the Real Beauty Blender that I have kind of biased on the squishiness. But Real Techniques makes other sponges that are pretty squishy. They need to do that on this one. As you can see, I mixed way too much, so I'm just kind of like using as much as I can. I probably put way too much foundation on, but I had a bit of breakouts, so it's okay. Doing my eyelids just to make it consistent all over. My lids are usually pretty red. Blending this down in my neck just because I had a lot extra and wasn't completely matching my skin tone. Next I'm using the NYX HD Studio Photogenic Concealer. It's really yellow on me, but it actually blends out pretty well later on. The consistency on this concealer is a little bit thicker than I'm used to. I usually use the Naked Skin Concealer by Urban Decay. This is also in the shade 00. I was going to pick up the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Foundation and Concealer today, but I am pretty sure no drugstore carries the lightest shade, so it will definitely be an online order later on. Next I'm using this Real Techniques mini sponge. I'm not really sure what this is called. I found this at Walgreens and this is probably my favorite drugstore sponge that I've ever found. The squishiness is very close to the Real Beauty Blender.
And like I said before, I really wish the orange complexion sponge was this squishy. It's perfect for your under eyes and any smaller spots that you need to buff out. These would also really be good for cream contour. Ugh, I can't talk today. Cream contour. I think the yellow brightened my under eye, if anything. I'd rather it be a little bit more on the white side just because I'm so pale. Next I'm putting this on my eyes because I didn't buy eyeshadow primer for the drugstore. This will work just fine as long as it doesn't crease real bad, and I didn't experience that, so it reminds me a lot of Urban Decay's primer potion in Eden. If this was a little bit drier and powdery when it dried, it would feel very similar to it, and the tone is about the same as well. Next I'm trying to figure out which illuminator I want to use, and my flat top Wet n Wild. I ended up deciding using the NYX Illuminator. I usually use this for a highlight and I thought it would be too much, but it's actually not that bad. It looked pretty good. It didn't set it as well as my Physicians Formula one, but my Physicians Formula one has a slight orange tint to it, and it kind of like changes the color of my foundation. So I wanted to use this NYX one today, and I'm definitely going to be using this for an all over powder later. I know a lot of people don't like to look sparkly when they put on their foundation, but I like to look more like glowy without being like tacky. I want my foundation set because I hate transfer with foundation. Probably should use a different brush for this, but I don't have the powder brush by Wet n Wild yet. I need to pick that up. Of course, sit down on your neck so it doesn't look weird. I don't think it looks too bad. It looks pretty natural, honestly. Next I'm using the NYX Duo Chromatic, and I believe it's called Pink Rose. This is a really pretty duochrome highlight. In the light, it looks like pink, like hot pink. Similar to the Moonchild palette by ABH, and I believe the Alchemist palette has a pink highlight as well. I think this is NYX's version of theirs. Highly recommend this. It's really pretty. It's very unique. They have a bunch of other shades that I definitely want to grab. And I'm going in my NYX HD blush in Taupe to contour. And I'm using my Makeup Academy, I believe it's called, brush. It's got a contour and a highlight end. Not a huge fan of double-ended brushes just because I can't get them to stand up in my brush organizer on my vanity. But, I mean, it gets the job done. I wish it wasn't as flimsy as it is, but I love the highlight side. I think it works really well. Put a little too much on, so I'm trying to buff it out as much as I can. So I use my, I believe this is a contour brush by Real Techniques. This is a little bit more stiff. And I go in with the contouring palette by Wet n Wild to set my under eye, because this is the lightest drugstore powder that I have. I was just gonna leave it, but my under eye was starting to crease. Next I'm going with my Real Techniques blush brush. This is my favorite Real Techniques brush, and my e.l.f. I believe it's called Tickled Pink blush. Again, sorry guys for not having this in front of me. I will put it in my description. Beautiful peachy sparkly blush. This is my favorite blush on my skin tone. A really hard time with super bright pinks. I don't think it looks that great on me. And then I'm using the Makeup Revolution Essentials Mattes palette. Going in with this first shade as a base, and you can just see it puffing out of my Wet n Wild crease brush. Like I said, the fallout is really bad. Just going in with more transition shades. This palette doesn't have shade names, so I'm kind of glad that I don't have to remember those. As you can see, like, you can't even tell a difference between these transition shades at all. I think it also might be this brush. I found with the Wet n Wild brushes that when you go to pick them up at the store, make sure that the ends of them are cut evenly. This one does not cut evenly at all. It's like choppy almost. I got this one at Dollar Tree, so that may have been why it was a little choppy. I'm going in with this like muted plum color. Now this one started to show up and it just went everywhere. As soon as I laid it down, it didn't want to go, so I had to bring out my It Cosmetics blending brush. But you can see that it's just like not moving at all. The more I look at the shade, the more I think it kind of like makes me look like I have a black eye. I want to bring this down a little bit so it doesn't look so like in one blob on my eye. Then I'm going in with this Essence eyeshadow. Or how dark this eyeshadow is in the pan, it did not reflect that on my eye whatsoever. Like, I grabbed quite a bit on my brush and it still didn't do anything. Then I'm going with this Essence Apricotta eyeshadow for like my bright lid color. It looks pigmented in this video, but it's really not, and I had to swipe quite a bit to grab some. Then I'm going in with my small eyeshadow brush to bring it down because I have nails, but I do not recommend this shimmer shade with a brush at all. It's way better to use your finger. I tried to blend this spot for like a whole 6 minutes. It was ridiculous. So no on the Essence eyeshadows. This was okay, I guess. I'm not digging it. The more I thought about it, I don't. And I go with my smoking brush by Wet n Wild. I'm using that on my lower lid. I'm using the plum color, and I'm, again, really digging into that color, and I'm still barely getting any pigmentation. And grabbing my Megalength mascara by Wet n Wild. I haven't used this in a while. I used to use it all the time. I forgot how much I like this mascara. I don't really like it for my upper lashes just because it's not stiff enough to like comb through all my lashes. But it's definitely perfect for your lower lashes. And this mascara is really cheap. It's under $3, I'm pretty sure. And I'm going in with my NYX Matte Liquid Eyeliner. Another one of my favorites. I talked about this in another video. I'm starting to run out of this eyeliner because I had to dip into it quite a bit. Then I'm using these, I think they're called Salon Perfect. They're by Walmart. They're very similar to the Ardell Wispies. And I'm also using my Duo Dark Tone Lash Glue, which is my favorite lash glue. On the eyelashes, I honestly like these better than the Ardell Wispies. I think this particular style is the So Glam, could be wrong, style by the Walmart brand. I definitely prefer these more than the Ardell version. I think these would be really good for people that are starting out with eyelashes because they are really bendy, they're not stiff at all, and the band is like clear. There we go. And I'm using the NYX Micro Brow Pencil in Taupe. This is a little light for my eyebrows, but I didn't want to use the black today just because I thought it would look a little too harsh with this look. I have found in this color, the formula isn't quite the same as the black Micro Brow Pencil. It doesn't glide nearly as easy. Like, it kind of tugs on my eyebrow. And I have to use a lot of this color because my eyebrows are so dark. Try to go with the hairs as much as possible to make it look a little bit more natural. Obviously my eyebrows are a little extreme to look natural, but I don't really use pencils very often. I use my pomade more than anything. But for this tutorial I use the brow pencil. And I always use my spoolie to clean up spots that I messed up on. It's also good to use for blending as well, which is what I do in the front, just to like give it more of a faded look. Then I'm using the Milani Adorable Amore Matte Lip Cream. I'm surprised I remember that. In this video, it's definitely not true to color. It's more rosy than brown. And it's not as dark in the tube, but I've found liquid lipsticks with me that light shades usually come out quite a bit darker for some reason. I really like this formula. This is definitely my favorite drugstore liquid lipstick formula. I kind of wish I could find a Milani in more places.
That was my full face drugstore tutorial. I hope you guys liked it. So let's talk about a couple of products that I bought. So this is the Makeup Revolution Redemption Eyeshadow Palette Essential Mattes. I believe this is $7 at Ulta. Not a fan of this at all. Like you can, I don't know if you can see that, but there's a ton of fallout just flaking off everywhere on this palette, and I just didn't like this at all. I'm sorry if anyone likes this palette or these. The version of this palette for matte is really hard to find, in my opinion, and I don't use drugstore eyeshadows very often. In fact, I kind of stray away from drugstore eyeshadows. I think that eyeshadows are one of those products that if you want something to look good and be quality, from what I've found so far, high-end is usually the way to go. An exception that I have in my collection is the NYX Ultimate palette. I talked about this in another one of my videos. Are the Essence eyeshadows in 21 Keep Calm Berry On and 08 Apricotta. This is an example of how you should never trust a little tester swatch things. Shimmer shades looked extremely pigmented in the little swatch thingy-majig. I'm not digging these at all. Like, I was like rubbing in here really hard to get some pigment and there's nothing. Nothing. Mind you, these were like $1.50. I don't know if I would ever buy these again. There was like a white shade that I swatched and thought it was really pretty, but they didn't have it in stock. Maybe would try that for like a highlight or something like that, but this is not pigmented enough for me to use as an actual eyeshadow. Sorry, Essence. If you're just starting out with makeup, you prefer to use Drugstore. I mean, it's usable. I think for the most part, the transition shades were the shades that I was the most disappointed with, just because I feel like every time I popped one of these on my lid, I couldn't distinguish any of the colors when I was blending them out. On your finger, they're okay, but these are just not good with a brush. I'm just gonna stick with my high-end palettes. If you want an affordable eyeshadow palette that performs similar to a high-end eyeshadow palette, again, I know you guys probably hate hearing this because all of the like makeup gurus say this all the time, but I'm gonna recommend them. Morphe, again, $22.99 for 35 colors. It's pretty damn bomb. If you haven't tried them yet, let me know what you actually think. I'm not sponsored at all, obviously. As for my lipstick that I'm wearing today, it is the Milani Amore Matte Lip Cream in Adorable. I actually really like these a lot. I haven't used this shade until now. It came out a little bit darker than I wanted it to be, but it's still really pretty. These are really comfortable. The formula is a little thick in the bottle. I prefer a more thicker formula, and I feel like they last a little bit longer. As for like food and things like that. Also, the NYX Angel Veil primer I used for the first time today. I just bought this today. I hear so many things about this primer, and I'm really digging this, like, a lot. It feels completely different than any other primer I've ever used before. The Tayla talked about this foundation a little bit. It is the Almay Clear Complexion 4-in-1 Blemish Eraser. I really like this foundation. I think it has a really natural finish to it. But the bad thing about this foundation is it's like orange on me. Like, this is 100 Ivory, but it's so orange on me. I went out and bought the NYX because I've needed this for a very long time because I have such a hard time finding foundations that match me, especially drugstore foundations. So I bought the NYX Pro Foundation Mixer in white, and I get the feeling that I'm going to be using this a lot. Would highly recommend this if you're really pale skin and you really like a certain foundation, but it's just not, the shade's not working for you. This. As for the NYX HD Studio Concealer in 00, I feel like it went on really dark. I mean, you can't really tell. It kind of looks like my skin tone. But I will say, you can't really see the swatch on my arm because I kind of like did it in a weird place. I will say that I swatched this next to my skin concealer, and my Naked Skin Concealer oxidized on my arm way more than this did. So if you have the Naked Skin Concealer and you have a problem with this oxidizing on you, maybe try this out. I think this is still pretty yellow. The formula was alright. It wasn't like amazing or anything like that, but this is the first drugstore concealer I've ever used, and I think it looks really good. Like, it actually settled pretty well. They had a lavender shade, which I think would be really good for lighting this up, light tinting this up. So maybe that would work for like cleaning up my eyebrows because it's pretty thick. So I might do that. All in all, this was actually a little bit challenging for me. It was kind of fun, actually really fun I can't say that I'll be using all of the products, mostly the eyeshadow palettes ever again, shadows, because it's not good. They're not good for me because I'm used to higher end palettes. That's just what I'm used to. You may like these, but the fallout was crazy on these, so I mean, try them out. These were only $1.50. The palette was only $7, so I mean, you're not losing much. So yeah, if you guys like this video, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you want to be a part of this little journey. If you have any ideas for next week's video, please, 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 please comment below and tell me what you guys are interested in. Again, it doesn't have to be makeup related, it could be anything. So thanks guys, I will see you next week.